The regular season is done for high school football across America, so Rivals and 24/7 have updated their latest rankings. And what does that mean for the USC Trojans commits? Let's take a look. Hey, what's going on, Trojan family? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Thank you, as always, for making this a part of your day. We truly appreciate it. Jumping on today to talk some new recruiting rankings. Going to be throwing a lot of names at you, but just a little update if you have not seen. Now that the regular season is over, as I've said before, these recruiting services, and as probably all of you know, these recruiting rankings do go up and down. They do move. They base them on, some of the 7-on-7 camps in the summer and then actual football played in their school. They update them kind of yearly after that. And then they'll do kind of a final update after the playoffs and after, some of the all-star games. So there may be a few more tweaks by the end of the year, but this is kind of the set finished rankings going into signing day. Before we get into it, let me be clear about this. USC Trojans do not care about these rankings going up and down. They've done their evals. They're watching film of these kids throughout the year. They do not care if 24/7 Sports or Rivals or ESPN or whomever is moving and removing stars from certain players. So let's just get that. No one get worried if you see like, oh, this guy dropped. Is USC going to move on or whatnot? They could have their own evaluation and think, okay, this kid maybe did not have, which I haven't heard. Let's be clear about that. But, maybe this kid kind of fell off a little bit through his senior year and they decide to pull the offer, which, again, I don't think any of that's happening. But just want to be clear that, they do not care about these rankings. So am I saying you shouldn't care? It's fun fodder. It is a good baseline. And obviously these are the industry standards that we've used for quite some time now. So we're going to start with 24/7. They just, I believe this morning, actually, Wednesday, updated theirs. Rivals came out a couple days ago, so we'll kind of compare a little bit. But when you look at 24/7, Kenai Pepe remains the number one tackle in the class. He goes up from the 7th overall player to the 5th overall player. I'll get to it when I talk to Rivals, but this is the player that seems to be the biggest contract between the two Goliath recruiting services. Well, let's just say it now. We don't got to wait for that. So 5th overall by 24/7 standards. Rivals has him at 258 overall, the 26th overall tackle. That is a massive gap. Massive gap. And, there's some other players that, this pertains to as well, but that, at least when it comes to USC, that, I believe, is the biggest, and I don't really know why. Everything I've seen, Kenai Pepe looks fantastic. And I'm not just saying that because it's a USC commit, and I usually actually side kind of more with Rivals for some. Obviously, West Coast, they hadn't had a recruiter. Now Greg Biggins left 24/7 to join Rivals, so I think the West Coast rankings will certainly improve. But Kenai Pepe plays at IMG Academy, so I don't know where the huge discrepancy is there. I've seen great things. I obviously trust Coach Zach Hansen when it comes to evaluating offensive line talent, considering what we've seen this year, him be able to do, developing this offensive line. So if he wants Kenai Pepe, I want Kenai Pepe. And I'll take the 5th overall ranking out of that. Brett Kolajay, his teammate at IMG, gets finally his 4th star. Here's another one that he was 4 stars, I believe, on the other, again, Rivals and On 3 used to be separate. So when there were 4 total, he was 4 stars on all 3. 24/7 was the loan to have him as a 3-star. They give him his 4th star, and he is a 24th ranked overall interior offensive lineman. Boobie Feaster, wide receiver, DeSoto. He moves up 33 spots to 69 overall in the 2026 class. Luke Wafel. This is another one that's actually a pretty big discrepancy. Not as massive as Pepe. He moves up 45 spots for 24/7. So, obviously good. He had an unbelievable season. An unbelievable season at Hun over in New Jersey. Moves up 45 spots, so he is now the 70th overall ranked player on 24/7. Rivals moved him up even more. He was already top 10. They moved him up to now the 4th ranked overall player in the 2026 class. So 70 versus 4, again, fairly big discrepancy, but did move up 45 spots from 24/7, so they clearly saw an improvement there, and Rivals has him as the 4th best player in America, which he's going to be super good for us. I've talked about it a bunch. He's going to be so good for SC. With Coach Nua and Henny, I can't wait to watch him get to campus. Albert Hill moves up 20 spots to 87. Let's just go with the moving up first. Jamian Winfield moves up 15 spots to 54. Or maybe it's just easier for me to go one by one, like where they're ranked differently, right? That's probably easier. So let's go back then. Kolajay on Rivals is not in the Rivals 300. So, yeah, that would be another big one as I don't think he's in the 24/7 either. But I just got his 4th star, so I think that was the big thing there. Baby Feaster, 69 on 24/7, 57 on Rivals, so fairly close there. I already talked about Luke Wafel. Albert Hill moved up 20 spots to 87 on 24/7. He is 76 on Rivals, so pretty close there as he moved up a little bit there as well. Mark Bowman, this is an interesting one that we can talk about. So Mark Bowman loses his 5th star on 24/7. He didn't have it on Rivals. He was a 4-star on Rivals. So he drops from 32 overall to 42 overall. Still top 50 player on 24/7. He now becomes the number 3 tight end on 24/7. On Rivals, he is the 32nd ranked player. So he was he's where he is with Rivals, where he was with 24/7. Now, to me, the reason, because Mark Bowman's been, along with others obviously, but Mark Bowman's been seen kind of as the prize commit of this class. Obviously, he was for almost the entire cycle the number 1 tight end, and now I believe he's 2 when it comes to industry rankings. Let me double check that. He is industry number 2. Still a 5-star when it comes to the full industry and the number 2 overall. The big thing for him is I don't think anyone should be worried about this at all. This comes more about production this senior year. He finished the year with just 23 catches, 292 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So not like blowing up the stat sheet. But the modern day offense, one, was kind of wildly inconsistent this year. Whatever you want to put that on, whether it was coaching, play calling, maybe some quarterback play there. It was very inconsistent. Also, you're going up against some really good defenses in the Trinity League. But also, the skill players on that team, I mean, you look at Chris Henry Jr., Caden Dixon-Wyatt. I mean, there was just so many plethora of options. And so there were times where they just did not throw the football to Mark Bowman. And he could have, I mean, Chris Henry Jr. is pretty special. They both are. But Bowman could, in certain games, probably have been the number 1 target. And they just did not target him very much. So him losing a star by 24/7, I don't think anyone should freak out whatsoever. I think that's more of a production or a lack of production, and it's just being in an offense with a lot of mouths to feed. He's still, in my opinion, the best tight end in the class. Like, he'd probably be playing for USC this year as a junior in high school. Remember, he reclassified from 27 to 26. He is that good. Some kids are just built different. They're just like body type different, skill set. All of it's just different. He would probably be playing right now with Walker Lions and Lake McCree. So next year with Walker Lions is going to be a lot of fun. Samoto Katawanga over at Santa Margarita, he had a massive fall as well with 24/7. He is not in the Rivals 300, so fell a little bit there as well. Falls from 57 to 184 on 24/7. Again, I think it's just a little bit about production a little bit. Not a bad year by any means. 30 tackles, 10.5 for loss, 3 sacks. You know, he's got the body size and skill set. We'll see how he develops with USC. I think he's a really good player. I wouldn't worry about this drop. I think it's a pretty stacked defense we've seen at Santa Margarita and what they've been able to do and what they did against Sierra Canyon. He's a part of that, but maybe because he's not the standout guy on a loaded defense, they saw some different stuff. So, Jamian Winfield up 15 spots on 24/7 to 54. To number 54, excuse me. He is number 38 up with Rivals. Jonas Williams, quarterback. He moves up 62 spots on 24/7 to 118 overall. He's the 9th ranked quarterback now for 24/7. With Rivals, he is the 147th overall player, and he is the 13th overall quarterback. So he does go down one spot in the Rivals individual rankings, but goes up in the industry in the 24/7 rankings. For those curious, don't know if you care at all, but Bryson Beaver, remember the big conversation around him? 3-star, commits to Oregon, gets the 4th star, all of a sudden moves up like 80 spots and becomes the 5th overall quarterback. They did drop him down. They still have him above Jonas Williams, which I am very surprised. Jonas Williams had an unbelievable season. Broke the state record for touchdowns, for passing yards. Unbelievable season. So I don't know what they're seeing to keep him that low. Beaver, they dropped from the 5th quarterback to the 11th, so moves 6 spots down, and he is their 126th overall player. So they still have him pretty high. Nothing against the kid at all. He's just doing what he can and working his tail off. But that was one of the big conversations, like really odd, massive jump from the spring to the fall. And then maybe now this is the rightful spot, coming back down to earth. It's still a highly rated 4-star QB, but from 5th to 11th. So anyway, if anyone was curious about that, that was an interesting point. So Eason Taffa, interior offensive lineman, plays at Corner Canyon in Utah. He goes up 62 spots on 24/7 to number 133 overall. He is not ranked in the Rivals top 300. Hey, what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. The number one sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose 2 or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns. For Jaden Mayava, if it's Mekhi Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USC LAFB. That's going to give you a match deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signups. If you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. Talanoa Ely dropped 6 spots to 62. On the 24/7 rankings. He, again, is not ranked in the Rivals 300. Oh, no, excuse me. Yes, he is. 197, which to me is low. This is another one. There's probably some bias here. But even if he didn't commit to SC, because, there was obviously a lot of big-name schools in the running for him, I think this kid is really special. Like this, I talked about Caden Henderson, the 27 prospect, linebacker out of Florida 2 days ago or so. I truly believe Talanoa Ely could be the next 5'5" for USC if things work out well. I just think he has the body type, the skill set, the tenacity, the physicality, the history, the culture, all of that. I think he has the makings to be the next 5'5". So 24/7, even though he dropped 6, he's still 62 overall. I think 197 by Rivals is absolutely egregious. I don't know if that's anything to do. I wonder if he would have stayed at Olu. Obviously, he transferred to Kahuku out in Hawaii and had a great season there, and that's a great program out in Hawaii. But I'm curious if he stayed in Olu in the Trinity League. We know Olu beat Bosco, one of the biggest upsets we've seen in quite some time last week. And they will play, I believe, they'll host Santa Margarita this Friday. I'm curious if Ely was still there and now getting kind of this national stage, what would have happened with his ranking? I don't think he's changed as a player. Maybe it's just where he played. So, Tom, they drop again 8 spots to 86 on 24/7. He is not in the Rivals 300. Another one. I don't know if it's just because of the amount of players on Mater Day that he got overshadowed. I think the dude's a baller. Deshaun Rideau goes down 9 spots, the running back out of Oaks Christian, to 109 overall on 24/7. He is 170 on the Rivals 300. This one is another one that might be one of the two. The next two are probably the two most egregious drops, and I keep saying that. But it just keeps getting more and more to me. Sean Alston, running back out of Ohio, drops 34 spots to 171 on 24/7 Sports. This dude had an unbelievable senior season. I mean, I think there was a game he had 8 touchdowns. Video game numbers for Sean Alston. He's 130 overall on Rivals. So fairly close. I don't know how you drop a kid that had a senior season like he had. I mean, if anything, keep him where he was at. And, obviously other kids are doing other things as well to improve their stock, but I don't see how you drop Sean Alston. He absolutely balled out this year. Brandon Lockhart, the next one. Again, drops 72 spots to 208. I don't get that at all. He is 138 on Rivals. So Rivals has him much higher. 138 to 208 on 24/7. I think he had a great season. Again, a loaded Sierra Canyon defense. Madden Riordan is going to be their USC commit. So I just don't know if it had to do with that. But Brandon Lockhart had a great season. He's going to be great for the Trojans. And then Vlad Diakonov was the last really kind of interesting one. 24/7 drops him 13 spots to 242. For Rivals, he was actually the biggest riser. Moves up to 68 overall. So he's at 68 and 242. So I don't know what these offensive line evaluators are doing, because you have Kenai Pepe way off. Brett Kolajay, pretty far off. Vlad Diakonov, way off. So I don't know. Whoever the offensive line evaluators are for each of these recruiting websites. And I know like Charles Power is the name of one of the analysts for Rivals. I mean, maybe they don't have them per position. It's just like one guy does every position. Maybe that's the problem. But that's a pretty massive difference. The only ones now that weren't on 24/7 that I will mention, Luke Weaver jumps up to 221 overall player for Rivals. Peyton Dyer, cornerback out of Georgia, 249. And Braden Jones out of state of Illinois just beat Jonas Williams in the playoffs, actually. Edge/defensive line, 279 overall. So a lot of names thrown at you. Those are kind of the updated rankings. Again, most likely those will be kind of the finished product. Some of these guys are going to play in all-star games. They might get a little bump, like, especially the skill guys when you think of Boobie Feaster and Mark Bowman, and we'll see if they can, I anticipate Mark Bowman bumping back up if he plays in any of these all-star games. Because to me, it just has to do with the actual statistical production, which isn't really his fault, right? Like, he's dependent on the quarterback to throw him the football. So, there we have it. Let me know what you guys' thoughts. Drop your comments below. Which recruiting service do you prefer, actually? There's a fun question. Everyone kind of has their preference. I try to do, obviously, my own evals, but, I mean, that's not my full-time focus is not 350-plus recruits analyzing and grading, so obviously I kind of lean on these, and then I kind of dig deeper into them. But what do you guys prefer? Just always curious. I actually kind of prefer Rivals. I don't really know why. Or originally it was On3. I think I liked the aesthetics of the On3 website, and the navigation always felt a little smoother. So I think that's why, like 2-3 years ago, I started actually leaning into On3 more. And then now obviously they're back merged with Rivals. The old Rivals had like the worst aesthetics. Like it was just hard to navigate. I just didn't like their pages. And then 24/7, for whatever reason, I always get kind of like reloads often on their pages. And so the On3/new Rivals is kind of just, the aesthetics is more pleasing to me. And I do think their rankings have improved over time. But what do you guys think? What are your favorite services? So please hit that like and subscribe button here at the USC LAFB YouTube channel. I will be heading to practice tonight. We're talking to Danton Lynn. We're talking to defensive players. I will have an update from the Diver Dojo as I do at practice. Plus, Tim and Madman will be live tonight taking your calls at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in right here on the USC LAFB channel. Make sure to call in with your thoughts, questions. It's Oregon week, huge week. We'll have plenty more Oregon coverage coming up. I have another recruiting video coming out here, might hold it till tomorrow morning, maybe later this evening, on some intel, some really interesting intel. So be waiting for that. Plus, I will be dropping probably Thursday, maybe Friday. I did a deep dive into the defenses of all of the top premier programs, call them the top 15 programs in the country if you want, and how USC's defense in terms of youth or in terms of age and experience stacks up against the likes of Ohio State, Georgia, etc. So really interesting stuff. We'll dive into that, take a look, and wait for it Thursday or Friday at the latest. But thank you, family. As always, bye now.